Are you ready? Welcome to Queer Opinions. Queer Opinions.
The podcast.
Wow.
Love, relationships, hot topics,
LGBTQ+.
Gay culture.
Scott McGoldrick with Claire.
With Claire.
And Mel.
and Mel.
Wow. It's just love.
It's just love.
It's just love. It's just love.
Hi, welcome to Queer Opinions. I'm Scott McGoldrick, your host, and I'm joined by my beautiful, talented co-host Mel. This podcast is going to focus on LGBTQ culture, love lives, relationships, and basically hot topics of what's going around and on in the world right now. This is episode 1, Scott McGoldrick with Mel. So since this is the first episode, we should probably mention actually that Claire's not here at the moment. She's taking a sick day. But she will be back for like episode 2, etc. But for now, we're just going to have me and Mel, and we're going to get to know us a little bit so you guys watching or listening can get to know us more
intimately? Or is
Yeah.
that a bit weird?
Well, I guess it's a bit weird, but it's not a bit weird at the same time. I've got some questions here that's gonna, what do you call those questions that get to know people?
Like icebreakers?
Yeah, I've got some like icebreakers basically. This question is, what's the best, worst or funniest story from your primary or high school days?
Probably when I was in primary 7, I had like a massive crush on one of my teachers. And before I went to high school, I was like, okay, I need to let this woman know. I don't know what was going through my head, but I just figured like she had to know.
Oh my god, you're brave.
Right. So I went to Asda and I was like buying chocolates, and I was like, okay, I'll buy the fancy ones, buy Thornton's ones. So I bought her a box of Thornton's chocolates.
Oh my god.
And after school, and I was talking to her, and I was like, oh, just so you know, I think I'm in love with you. It was just so fucking awkward. Like, she's just this like 50-year-old woman that just looks like someone's mum.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it actually went okay. Like, she wasn't angry. She was just extremely concerned.
What did the teacher do though? Was she shocked?
I mean, she actually almost went to jail for something else.
Totally unrelated.
There's a Sun article about it. She stole loads of money from the kids. So I don't feel as bad
Oh my god,
now.
I know.
Nah, she was fine with it. She was flattered and concerned.
Did she tell your parents or anything?
No, that wasn't till we got to high school.
That's kind of like kind of, although not saying anything. She could have been like terrible and like told your parents straight away, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, she was pretty chill. I think she was probably just trying to avoid getting in any sort of conflict to do with that, in case she got found out.
Instead of trying to make it like, hopefully not making a bigger deal than it was, if you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think like the things I used to do, I was like a terror in high school.
Yeah.
Like really bad. But do you know what I think it is? I think it's like, see when you get bullied for so long, you start like turning around and be like, well, I can't be the weakest person, so I'm going to take it out on whoever I feel weak at the same time. Which is not a good thing, but I feel as though if you're getting bullied like constantly 24/7 and you see someone with a hint of weakness, you start taking out on them because you think, well, if I'm going through it, you should be going through it as well, because you're not fucking like an alpha like everyone else. But so I used to be such an asshole, such a bitch, I feel like a lot of the times. But I think a lot of it was just because I was basically hiding who I was. You're trying to pretend you're straight and stuff when you're not. I mean, straight people will never understand that gay people are acting like their whole lives until they come out, basically. And that must be such a stress psychologically and mentally. I wonder if anyone's done studies on that though, because that clearly must do something to people.
I think so. I think it's the whole, when straight people do the whole sort of, oh, well, why do you need to come out? Like, nobody needs to know what you are. But I don't think people realise how big, like, of a thing it is. Like, it is part of us. And I think straight people maybe just see it as like, oh, it's a sordid thing, it's a sex thing. But they can have boyfriends and girlfriends, do what they want, and
they get to live their life from start, like from as soon as they come out the women stuff, whereas we don't until we become strong enough to come out. Sometimes that's not till later, so we live our high school experience in our 20s, if that makes sense. There's a
Mhm.
thing that they always say, like, gay men take loads of drugs and stuff when they're in their 20s because they're basically partying as though they were in high school, and they're acting like bitches and
Mhm.
stuff because they're still in that high school mentality because they never got to experience that at that age. Now they're late bloomers, basically. Whether straight people are getting married and all that at like 20, having kids and stuff, gay guys are
Mhm.
still trying to figure out who they are in a way.
Yeah. I hadn't considered that. That's really interesting.
Is it the same with lesbians? Is it the same constant hiding and stuff? Like constant mental struggle as well?
I think so, yeah. I would say so. Maybe not so much now, but for me anyway, it was. I remember like having to keep it a big secret, and then when it got found out, it was such a big thing, and then you're trying to go back in the closet.
Uh,
But then after it, I think the main thing for me was because I'd been so bullied and stuff, I felt like no one really wanted me and stuff. So my main sort of thing was to find a girlfriend. And I think that's with a lot of lesbians. They have this thing, it's called like a U-Haul lesbian. So
yeah.
it's like a
What,
phenomenon where
what does that
they like
mean?
move. It means like lesbians, they'll like move in with each other on like the fourth date or
Oh
something.
yeah.
And I think that's that's what we do. It's like we kind of try and find a partner right away.
Yeah, because I know they always say that, but lesbians, like, they move in so fast or they get married so fast and stuff, they'll just basically jump into it. Whereas gay guys will jump from dick to dick to dick to dick. It's so strange how it's completely the opposite. And if a gay relationship lasts more than a year, it's like a big massive deal. People are like, wow, they're basically going out like 3 or 5 years in gay world. Like, that's crazy. Whereas lesbians really stick it out and can go years and years and years as if it's nothing. It's unusual how big a difference there is when it comes to lesbian relationships and gay relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if I know, like, I don't think any of my gay friends are in a relationship. I think they are in relationships for maybe 6 months and then that's it. The
Yeah.
closest, one of my best friends was in a relationship for maybe 5 years, I think it was. But after that, again, just dating for like 6 months here and there, like 8 months here and there. It's it's very rarely that I find anyone in my like surrounding life that is in long-term relationships as gay people.
That is quite weird. Like all the lesbians I know are in relationships or married and stuff, and like wanting to have babies. It's weird. I've been thinking a lot about that sort of thing recently, where obviously now we're allowed to marry, so we're just all kind of acting like straight people now.
Oh yeah. We're doing
So
the
it's like,
typical, like, we want to get married, get the house, have babies, like all that.
uh, so it's like, oh, we can accept you now into society, gay people, as long as you act like straight people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's such a a unique way of thinking about it.
Yeah, totally. And what you were saying as well about your kind of high school experience where you were being bullied and then you were picking on like folk that were weak as well. I think as a community, gay people are kind of doing that to trans people now.
Oh,
So like,
definitely.
are the new gay and gay people are like the new straight kind of thing.
Yeah, because I feel as though gay people, like gay guys, have become the I don't want to say the norm, but the norm and general when it comes to like straight people. Gay men are just they're hairstylists, makeup artists, blah 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 blah. Whereas trans people are still like in the shadows, if that makes sense. They're not as visible, because the world seems to be that it's almost like they're not ready for it. They see it as a deprived thing when it's
Yeah.
completely the opposite. It's so strange, and I think a lot of human beings have got that mentality, which is sick.
I think it's like gays were treated like in the 80s. It's the words and stuff like perverts, sick, think of the children, all that sort of stuff. It's the same sort of things getting about.
It's almost like it's went on to them now. It is actually mirroring what gay people went through in the 80s, and now trans people are going through it. Like, they're getting murdered and stuff just for being trans. Do you want to discuss, I'm going to say...
Oh, what are they called? The LGB Alliance?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
the thing that annoys me and like hurts me so much is that they're Scottish. Out of
Mhm.
everywhere in the world, I would not expect them to be Scottish. If you're listening, there's this, is it a group? What would you call them? They're
I
not an
think
alliance. They're like,
they're like, yeah, they're like I would personally call them a hate group, but
yeah.
I think they tried to get registered charity status recently. I don't know if I'm pulling that out my
What?
arse.
They are called the LGB Alliance without the T. I came across them on Twitter once because they were causing some drama over something. I can't remember what it was. They never got into a club or something. They got thrown out of a club. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was that girl.
Oh,
She wore a t-shirt, an LGB Alliance t-shirt, and she was asked to leave because it was like a hate group, and they caused a big stramash about it.
yeah, because this was in a gay club she got thrown out of. And of course, if you're wearing something that says LGB without the T, you're trying to bring the whole LGBTQ community all the way back. Like, you're trying to erase
Mm-hmm.
a part of the community in a way that basically built pride and stuff. They started the whole fucking pride experience that we know now. And if it wasn't for like trans people fighting back then, we wouldn't probably be able to be so open and stuff. Personally, I think they're so ignorant that they don't understand that. They're like so nonchalant about their hate for it. They just don't, they're so ignorant they don't want to do research and stuff, I don't think. Or the
Yeah,
research they are doing, they are clearly reading these like conspiracy websites or something. They're not doing proper research.
totally. And it's back to what we're saying, how like gay is the new kind of norm now. So
Mhm.
we've been allowed to get married, we've been allowed to do all this shit by straight people, we've been allowed to adopt, allowed to have babies, but I don't think this group realises how much of our identity as a community we've had to lose in
Mhm.
order to get those privileges. Like, there's a lot of, I mean, for gay men and all that, the kind of underground stuff, like, that's a big part of the gay community. And now that we're having to act like straight people, it's like the stuff that made us what we are, that made us a different group, like, it's kind of gone. We're not really as privileged as we think, maybe.
Yeah.
And so then these trans people are becoming the new what we were, and it's just a horrible cycle, and it's like a lack of self-awareness.
I just don't understand how people can't grasp that someone's gender has nothing to do with them. Why are
I
people
did.
losing
Mm-hmm.
sleep and stuff over someone else's gender? And have you noticed as well, though, there seems to be this sort of hatred in the media for trans people, and not, it's like gaslighting. They're like gaslighting the public to turn on trans people when a
Mm-hmm.
trans person's probably never said one thing about wanting to change the gender of Santa Claus, for instance. But
Oh yeah.
someone posts it, a media thing will post it and it'll go viral, and then it makes people subconsciously start hating trans people more. And all these newspaper articles all slowly get into society's mind, if you know what I mean. And
Mm-hmm.
it's given these people a reason to start hating on trans people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole debate about the Santa Claus, and there's other stuff that usually goes viral every couple of months, and it seems to be, it's almost meant as almost like gaslighting for some
It's
reason. It's never positive stories. It's
yeah,
so weird.
propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
There was one like, it's she's a trans author, I'm sure. Her name's Janelle Dobson, and she was formerly called James Dawson. I read the book when she was still before her transition.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had lived as a gay man for, I don't know, like 30 years or something, and then she came out as trans and transitioned and things. So it was like a headline that she had said that a lot of trans people are living as gay men, and it was twisted to be like her basically saying that all these gay men are secretly trans and all this stuff, and it was all twisted, and everyone kind of turned against it on Twitter, and it was like a lot of gay people turned against it as well.
Of course they did.
Mhm.
Because I was watching an interview that last night actually with Gia Gunn, who's a trans woman from RuPaul's Drag Race, and she was saying basically that the hate comes from gay men, from specifically like white gay men. she's noticed all this hate, it's never from women or anything, it's always from white gay men. And I think something has happened where white gay men have become accepted much more in society, so they start acting like straight people again and start going, as I said earlier, that I would start bullying someone who I deemed who was lower than me, almost like white gay men are doing that to anyone else in the community who they do not seem on their level, if that makes sense. And I think it's so interesting that that was her reaction, because I've noticed as well, because I wear makeup and I'll go on dating apps like just say Grindr, for instance, all the hate, like homophobia I get is from other gay men. And I can look at my phone, my Facebook, anything. I never get any homophobia from straight men, from straight women. It's always gay men, which is such a strange phenomenon, because you would think we would want to be accepted by everyone in the community, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
treat others the way you would like to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get like any homophobia a lot, or is it something you just haven't had to deal with in a while?
I've not had to deal with it in a while, since high school.
Which is a
But-
good thing, I guess. Like, society is
Mhm.
changing that way, so that's a plus.
Yeah, I think the main sort of things is the whole kind of watch thing that straight men do. Like,
Oh,
you don't take it seriously as a lesbian. It's like you're a sex object. You could be the ugliest lesbian. I'm just kidding, there are no ugly lesbians. But like the ugliest lesbian, and there'll still be like a group of straight men being like, "Oh, can I watch?"
I never thought of that. Like, you just have to get sexualized 24/7, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so annoying, especially if you're in a gay club and someone brings a straight friend. I could only imagine the way the straight guy goggles and looks at lesbians and stuff and says stupid little things like that, like, "Oh, can I watch?" Like, that must get so frustrating.
I mean, you wouldn't say it to anyone else. Like, you wouldn't go up to a straight couple and say it.
I know.
And I think another sort of thing that lesbians deal with is in gay bars again. Gay bars for me, I think, is just filled with gay men, which is fine, but loads and loads of straight girls. So it's like for however many gay men, there's like all these straight girls hanging off them.
That is so true. I never thought of that, actually, because
And it's all well until you go to the toilet and they're all like hiding from you, and you're like, "This is my toilet. Get in."
and also, like, you never know who is looking at you for the right reasons, like who you can flirt with or whatever, because as gay guys, we just assume that all the men in there are gay, but I never thought about the amount of straight girls that gay men bring to the clubs. So that is like, that must get so confusing for lesbians. That never popped into my head before.
Yeah, there's like a lack of lesbians. I think unless you're really butch lesbian, unless like you can tell right away that a lesbian is a lesbian. Yeah, it's really hard to distinguish in clubs, especially.
Do you think they should have a lesbian club? And like, do they have lesbian clubs?
No, well, they've got Katie's, but it's not really lesbian anymore. They had one and it shut down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the only one that I've ever been in was when I was in, I think it was Prague I was in, and it was the only lesbian bar that I've ever really heard of.
Really?
There's none here at all, which is a shame.
Yeah, do you think there should be? Because I never thought of it that way. Like, if I was a lesbian, I would be thinking like there was a lack of space here for us, it feels like, because you are bringing your straight friends and we are sort of getting pushed away to the back of the room, basically. Whereas when you gay guys and your straight, like, fag hags are on the dance floor taking up all this space and stuff, like, where is our club? When is our time to fucking have fun and, like, enjoy ourselves? I actually think there should be more lesbian clubs in, but then again, other people can say, well, that's just separating us even more, if that makes sense.
I think it's a feminist issue as well. Like, a lot of the feminism nowadays is so straight women focused, and I think when you relate it to the gay community, like it's a lot of the time it's the gay men and with their straight friends that are taking up the space. So a lot of the LGBT events, it's always very male focused, and there's not a lot of women focused events. So I think it is a feminist issue. It's still a patriarchal system, even though we're not part of the big society. But I think as we become more part of the society, it just gets worse. It's replicating straight society, I think.
I never realised before how privileged and ignorant we as gay men are, because when we do go to clubs, like we've always got like a fag hag or two fag hags, and for every fag hag that's taking up space that a lesbian could be in, if that makes sense. So the club is getting smaller and smaller, and I just think that must be so confusing for lesbians, because when I go to a gay club, I'm just assuming every guy is gay, because like lesbians aren't bringing a lot of their straight guy friends, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't happen. Do lesbians have a thing called a fag hag, but like in a male version?
No, I don't think so. Like, you get like the butch lesbians and they're like one of the guys, but I don't think I don't think there's like a lesbian sort of fag hag opposite. Not that I know of anyway.
I need to Google that. I want to see if that's a thing. So back to the LGB Alliance, I've got a tweet here that, so their Twitter bio says that are setting the right of lesbians, bisexuals and gay men to define ourselves as same-sex attracted. And then their tweet was, whilst we think it's unhealthy to exist in an echo chamber of positivity and don't like to block people with opinions different to ours, we will block those who don't want respectful dialogue. Being pro-LGB does not make us a hate group, and we shouldn't have to endure slurs.
I mean, being pro-LGB doesn't all make you a hate group, but it's being anti-trans that does.
Yeah, so it's sort of it just doesn't make sense. You're not a hate group, but then you're hating on one part of the group in our community, if you know what I mean, and trying to absolutely just like cut them off altogether. That's pretty hateful to me. That sounds pretty hateful to me.
Definitely. What is the agenda?
To advance the interests of lesbians, gay men and bisexual at a time when we are under the threat from concerted attempts to introduce confusion between biological sex and the notion of gender. I think at the same time, they're basically saying this because they also are seeing the hatred that trans people are getting, and they just don't want to be part of it. It sounds like that. It sounds just like, we don't want any part of this. We've already been through this. Like, deal with it on your own, which is not fair whatsoever.
Exactly. Like, when you think about how hard we had to fight and all the trans brothers and sisters that had to fight with us, like, the least we can do is
stand up and fight for them back, if you know what I mean. Like,
the bare minimum.
Their other aim, this is on their website, by the way, this is aims on their website, right? This is not a hate group, remember? Not a hate group at all. To protect children. So that just says it right there straight away. To protect children and young people from being taught unscientific gender doctrines, particularly the idea that they may have been born in the wrong body, which may lead to life-changing and potentially harmful medical procedures. Oh, and then you've got to laugh. The next one under that is to promote respectful freedom of speech and informed dialogue. Oh my God. What about that as informed? You're like trying to uninform young kids by cutting trans people off and stuff. I really don't think they thought out what the hell they're actually standing up for. Let's just say you are anti-trans. That's all you are. Just put that on your website. Then it's simple. We know what you stand for.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is as well, they're against young people being taught about trans people. Like, young people in schools aren't even getting taught LGB education, alone T. So it doesn't make any sense at all.
They also want to amplify the voices of lesbians and to highlight the dual discrimination we experience as women who are same-sex attracted in a male-dominated society. We support women's reproductive rights and bodily autonomy.
So they're TERFs then?
What, sorry?
They're TERFs, trans trans exclusionary radical feminists.
Oh, is that a real term?
It is, yeah, but they would,
I've never heard of
if we were to call them that, we would call it a slur.
Ah, see, I feel as though they really have not sat down as a group and all came to the conclusion, like, okay, what do we believe and what do we not believe? What do we want? Their ideas and the way they're, like, put them into words just are so, they don't merge together properly, if that makes sense. For one side, they're saying, like, they're not a hate group, they believe in freedom of speech and informed dialogue, but they're trying to cut out information altogether from, like, young kids and stuff. That's not freedom of speech then. So it's really hypocritical what they're got on their website and stuff. I feel as though I could go on forever about this group. I really want to have an interview with whoever runs that.
It's disjointed as well. Like, when I've been through their social media feeds, I've been trying to make it make sense, but I've given up a few times because it just doesn't. Like,
I know it sounds bad, but I feel as though it's like trying to talk to, like, a Trump supporter and trying to tell them why you are supporting, like, why you've got your morals, blah blah blah. They just don't want to hear that because they've already decided in their mind that this is wrong, blah blah blah. That's exactly like the way they sound as a group, the way everything's worded and stuff. They just, I don't think even talking to them with rational conversations and facts is going to change any of their minds.
I think they're very good at mental gymnastics when it comes to the right.
Definitely. Let's move on topic wise and just jump into, I've got, like, questions here. Oh wait, can you, since we're on the idea of, like, that whole, like, gay clubs and stuff, tell us your best, worst, sexiest, funniest time that you visited a gay club.
Okay.
Well, you think I've got one just now, actually, that me and my friend were talking about last night. Oh my god, we're in hysterics. So years ago, when both of us were 18, both of us just so happened to have an eating disorder at the same time. So we were on, like, laxatives, like, we would take, like, 20 a day and stuff, whilst puking and whatever. I'm not laughing because of the eating disorder, by the way, guys. I'm just thinking of what's coming. So we were sitting at home. We never expected to go out that night, and the last train was coming. Now that we could go out anyway because we've, like, got the money. It's cheap. It's like £1 a drink. Let's just jump on the train and go. Totally not thinking about the laxatives we took earlier. Went to the club and I was dancing. I was totally fine. I never, like, felt anything. And my friend was like, Scott, I need to go to the toilet. And bolted to the toilet. And he was in there for, like, 20 minutes. Now, I never even noticed because I was just out my face and dancing. And then he came back and he was like, Scott, those laxatives are fat. And it's just as I was saying that, he ran again to the toilet because he kept having. He basically, the whole time in that club, I was just on the dance floor myself and he was in the toilet. And the security guard thought he was doing drugs in the toilet, but he didn't want to say. No, it was because he was shitting himself. It was hilarious. So not sexy as well in a gay club.
I'll try to think of one, but I think maybe it's not hilarious or sexy, but I think it was maybe when I met my girlfriend for the first time. So I met her in a gay club.
Which one? Was it in Glasgow?
Yeah, AXM.
AXM.
Yeah, so it was like an LGBT event with the uni that I was at, and it's like 5 years later and we're still together. So
that's amazing. What was the event? Was it?
It was just it was a Halloween event. It was a Halloween party.
How did you meet? Were both of you drunk or?
Yeah, so we'd met, like, at the uni, and then we'd got the subway down together, and we just chatted all night together. And she was dressed up as Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Were you dressed up as anything?
No, I wasn't. I was too embarrassed because I'd got the train over. So yeah, I was too embarrassed.
The longest I was in a relationship was weirdly with a girl, and that was 5 years as well. But a guy, not so much. I've not been in a relationship that long with a guy.
And when you went out with a girl, was that like in school or what?
In high school, we were that couple as well. We'd be going out for ages, and then we'd break up and argue because like she would cheat or whatever, and then we'd get back together. So it was like constantly drama filled. Like I felt really old for my time, if you know what I mean. Like that much drama should not have been going on for such a young age. Fun fact, this is going to get explicit, guys, if you don't want to listen. I used to give her lickouts under the stairs in high school, but at lunchtime, like just in the middle of nowhere, like and like out in the open, just under the stairs. And I'm thinking, like, are you as fucking nuts? People used to ask us as well, where you going? And we would just tell them and like shout it while we're like getting a lunch. Like we could have been caught or anything and getting suspended from school for doing that. Your son was caught giving a lick out under the stairs. Do you want to actually just jump on to the last topic, which is the difference between Tinder and Grindr? Because I know there's probably a massive, I'm guessing there's a massive difference, but there might not be. For gay men, Grindr it's basically a hookup app. Let's be honest, no one on there a lot of the time are looking for anything but hookups. But is it the same with Tinder and stuff, like for lesbians? How is that? Is that more of a like dating situation?
Yeah, I would say so. I think a wee bit of both. It's certainly not like as hookup-y as like Grindr is for gay men. There's like there's another lesbian app. It's called Her, so it's kind of like lesbian Tinder.
Is that new?
But I think it's been going it's been going for a few years
people
now.
use
Maybe.
it? Is it like popular?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's really popular. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't say like it's kind of like there are kind of people who are hookup-y and there are kind of people who aren't. A lot of the things on it is like couples, so like a man and a woman looking for like a lesbian or a bisexual woman to join.
That I feel as though that's just a straight guy getting into the woman's head and convinced her to have a lesbian thing. Though you were saying earlier, like guys just want to watch. I would feel uncomfortable that way. If I was a lesbian, I'd prefer it to be like with another woman. Like if two of them are women, then I'd know it was cool. But if it was a guy, I'd be like, no, this is just some pervy straight guy who wants to see his girlfriend like do it with a girl. But I suppose there's also websites like that for like gay people. Like there's a swinging one where straight couples and like ask for a gay guy to come in, which has always seemed like a bit weird for me. I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it. I like to keep it separate. Like women over here, men over here. I don't know if I could go in and mix them up together for some reason. But back like Grindr is, I mean, if you wanted to sleep with someone, you would literally just have to dun dun dun, and in 10 minutes you could be in a taxi to that hookup right there. That is how hookup-y it is. There's always someone looking for D. Whereas Tinder, do you have to basically build up like long conversations and stuff before you meet and all that?
Yeah, there's a graft involved with that sort of thing.
Well, see, I think that's another thing as well. The way women are, they're much more like building in a way like a connection, whereas gay men just don't even want to see your face or know your name. They don't want that connection. They're very much keep it separated as much as possible. Whereas I feel as though like lesbians do have to go through that, because I've watched my best friend Kat, the amount of grafting she has to go through just to get one woman. It's crazy. She uses Plenty of Fish, and don't get me wrong, it does always work. Like she'll always like get hookups and stuff, but she has to do like a week's talking first before they even meet, compared to like the 10 minutes a gay guy will have before he can get D.
I mean, I've been to like if you go to Delmonico's like during the week, it's always guys sitting on their phones, and then often they'll get up and stuff. It's quite interesting to watch.
I've not been in Delmonico's in years actually. I feel as though I stopped going because of my social anxiety. It's very compact, so you're very like squeezing through people and stuff to try and get a seat, and it just freaks me out. I need space, so I know like I'm okay.
Yeah.
Talking about dating apps, did you know Grindr was run by a straight guy who doesn't believe in gay marriage?
Really?
That is the worst news I've heard. Like this, I heard it like last month, and I was like, "What?" And gay men still accept that, and you basically give him a shit ton of money. Like he must be loaded. I mean, the amount of money their subscription is just for a month. It's like £30, £50 and stuff for a fucking like a month on Grindr. Like dick is not that important. I'm not paying a gym membership for dick, basically. But even a gym membership is cheaper and you're probably quicker like getting dick. Oh my god. I'm also so pissed off. I fucking signed up for a gym membership. Went once for half an hour and the next day the lockdown started. Anyway, thank you so much for being here for episode 1. Thank you for even coming, because I know like right now because of the quarantine and stuff, people can't be bothered doing anything. Like this is the first time I've actually put on a real job and stuff in ages.
I know, I think it's the first time I've worn a bra for like months.
I would just never... Oh, I ordered 2 wigs, one red because I'm doing a poison ivy transformation thing, and then I've got a blonde one as well because I want to try and like do a Tricks Me Tail one. So I may know what the bra thing feels like soon. But I'm not gonna do it until I've got like the padding and everything, because if I'm gonna do the look, I want it to be like right. So yeah, I'm just not looking forward to the whole napping top and all that and pulling and all that bullshit.
Are you
I'll
going
get great pictures out of that.
Are you going to do like a YouTube?
Yeah, I'm going to do
tutorials?
the transformation like on a YouTube video, because I think it will also be fun. If it fails, it'll still be funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'll still be content, entertaining content. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, Mel. And thank you so much to the listeners or viewers at home. Sorry Claire couldn't be here this week, but she will be here for episode 2 and so on. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. That was just a little introduction to get to know us during the hard times right now during Corona. So thank you so much.
Queer opinions.
The podcast.
Wow.
Love, relationships, hot topics.
LGBTQ+.
Gay culture.
Scott McGoldrick with Claire.
With Claire.
And Mel.
And Mel.
Wow. It's just love.
It's just love.
It's just love. It's just love.